Hello, you beautiful people. It's your boy D.MasterFlex here, and welcome back. Hey, it's good to see you again. Today we're doing Fallout 4 with only the junk jet, and as honestly, it was kind of a ride. It was kind of tough at some points. I mean, getting ammo was pretty easy, obviously, but just using the thing, I'll explain more on. Let's just get this thing started. By getting this thing started, I mean let's go find Paladin Dance because there's two ways to get the weapon in this game. One, you get it from random encounter. Two, you get it from helping Dance at the police station and doing that quest. And obviously, we're gonna help Dance because I am not. I think you need to be like level 30 to 50 to be able to get the random encounter to spawn in. So I am not. I am not gonna do that. That is like the dumbest way to get it. Finally, getting to Dance, I have to wait for him to kill all the ghouls because obviously I am not gonna do damage. I can't do damage without the junk jet, and I can't get the junk jet without him clearing out the area. So we have to wait for Dance to be able to do stuff. After he's done, we can finally talk to him, get all the logistics out of the way. I think they use that word right. And then finally say that I'm going to help him. And when I help him, I mean I'm going to walk behind him as he kills everything. Or just walk behind him because he takes forever to walk. Now that we finally made it to the building, I have to wait through the longest loading screen possible. Now that I'm finally inside, I can use Paladin Dance as a body shield, letting him kill every synth in the possible way. And now that we're in the rocket room, I can finally get the junk jet. Which is going to suck because this is one of the worst weapons in the game. Every single piece of scrap does the same amount of damage, by the way. So yeah, if you're gonna use steel balls, it's gonna do the same amount of damage if you just used a single wooden piece. Which annoys the hell out of me, but hey, what are you gonna do? Checking on Dance, we can see he's A-okay. Go upstairs, kill all the synths, pick up the signal disruptor or whatever the hell this thing is, give it a dance outside, and now we can go on our merry own way. Checking the mods for this weapon isn't that good, because we get two damage increasing mods, and both of them aren't really good. One of them gives electrical damage, the other one gives fire damage, and the fire damage is more than the electrical damage by like, what, 10 points? So in the end, it's pretty much all we get, so let's hope for the best. And the best we get, because the ending we're going for this time is the Minutemen. Why? Because I don't know, I feel like the Minutemen wasn't really that good for this gun because the Mirelurk Queen was a hell of a ride, and you'll see later on what I mean. But for right now, it's pretty good of a weapon for low levels because it's taking what, two? No, three shots to take down one raider on an average, and I'm not even charging it up because at this point in time, I didn't know I could charge up the attacks, so I was just doing the basic uncharged attacks. I could have gotten a lot more damage if I actually charged it. Speaking to Preston and Sturgis, I'm told to go pick up the power armor core and use the power armor, which I'm not really gonna, avoid it this run because the junk jet sucks enough, so a little bit more damage on my side, at least in the protection department, is welcomed and needed in order for me to survive. Speaking of surviving, I managed to take down the Deathclaw, thankfully, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, though that's probably because I shoved every single junk item into this and I kind of hid in the building. Ignoring my cowardly actions, I go back to Preston, tell him to go to Sanctuary, or, well, get told that he's going back to Sanctuary, talk to him again, and get told to help settlers. Alright, let's get this started. I quickly break into a woman's house, talk to her in her sleep, get sent to a I can't pronounce that word, get sent to assembly plant, and kill a guy, because they said that he's a threat, even though he's, like, really far away from them. Alright, yeah, sure, whatever. And a couple settlement farming later, we're finally able to go take the castle. Talking to Preston, I can decide whether or not I want to go in there pincer attack or go in guns blazing. I go in guns blazing because what the hell am I supposed to do with the junk jet? The damage isn't bad enough that the bar doesn't move, but it's good enough to the point where it's at least a tiny little chunk if I at least charge it up. Though it remains a hassle because there's a bunch of Mirelurks here, not to mention the Mirelurk hatchlings, and then the big queen that took a solid 12 minutes to kill, because I barely do any damage. Not to mention she has a skull next to her name, obviously, and I'm pretty sure I'm level 12 at this point. Actually, not even level 12. I think I'm like 9 or 10. Finally, I'm able to kill her, which sets up the Minutemen for later on, so I can be able to do their ending. Also, look at all the floating steel. I don't know why, but there's a chance that the items that you shoot out of the junk jet will occasionally stay floating up in the air, at least from my experience. Making my way to Diamond City, I smack Piper in the back of the head. Talk to Ellie that I gotta go find Nick now. Thanks to my massive brain, I could go down there already because I already discovered the location, take out the Triggermen, and struggle horribly because the Triggermen do a lot of damage to me. Not to mention at some points, this gun doesn't really register its hits. Even with the scope on, I feel like I'm missing like 80% of the time. I can shoot point blank and sometimes it will miss, though at the same time, it's mainly my fault for not being good at aiming these guns. Though I still blame the weapon. Taking out Dino, I can finally make my way to Valentine, talk to him, go outside because I don't want to deal with the vaults anymore, and then deal with Skinny Malone, who isn't skinny. I don't think I've ever let Skinny Malone live anyways. I think I've let Darla live a little bit, but Skinny Malone was never someone I would just like let go. I proceed to tell Nick that I'll meet him in Diamond City. Finally making my way to Diamond City, I could talk to Nick Valentine, get my interview out of the way. Lockpick and get the key from the desk, make my way in Kellogg's home, press the button, Nick is in my way again, get dog meat outside, sell some items before I leave, and finally make my way to Fort Hagen, which I have to clear out some super mutants beforehand. Making my way through Fort Strong proved to be a challenge, purely because I didn't really invest in the health. The idea was that I could take down at least 1 to 2 synths per, per 3 stem packs is my guess. Problem was, I couldn't even take down one without dying immediately. So I had to leave, come back with my power armor that I kept over there in my settlement, and then I'm able to survive at least somewhat. Finally making it to Kellogg, I try and sneak him with a critical attack and a sneak, which thankfully did more than half of his health, though I ended up having to shove my gun in his mouth just to finish the job. Going on a side tangent, this also brings up my favorite thing about the junk jet is randomly shooting out a toaster that I shoved in there and forgot I had. Because I shove in random junk that I have in there, and because it's a junk jet, what else do you expect? But I also love the fact, because I shove a bunch of metal in there just so I don't have to constantly, find stuff. But having a random toaster or a random bread box shoot out at someone mid-fight is hilarious to me. Leaving Fort Hagen, I could see the Brotherhood attempting the Aura Farm. Making my way back to Piper and Nick, I'm able to talk to them about Kellogg. They tell me to go to Good Neighbor so I can get the brain matter scanned or whatever it is. Sell the literal clothes off my back to Cleo. And talk to Dr. Amari about shoving a fork in Valentine's brain. Now I gotta go through the worst part of the game. Well, not worst part of the game. More like the most boring part of the game. The worst part of the game, at least in general, like counting DLCs, is the Far Harbor Dima's Memories. That's the worst part. It's not even boring. It's just get me away from this place. I don't want to be here anymore. Finally waking up, I tell Dr. Amari I'd killed Kellogg again if given the chance. Ignore Nick on my way out, and time for the glowing sea, baby. Only for me to get annihilated immediately by a Creation Club NPC. After a while of traveling, I finally make it, talk to her, even though she ends up dying to a rat scorpion that followed me from the glowing sea. Well, not from the glowing sea, but from the hidden cave, I think it's what it's called. That's where it followed me from. Luckily, there's a note telling me exactly where Virgil is on her corpse, allowing me to both find and speak to Virgil, who promptly tells me to go find a Courser chip, and you know exactly what that means. That means Green Tech Genetics, baby, Gunners, baby, climbing up this entire building just so I can make it to the Courser, baby. Alright, that's enough. I'm not saying that stuff anymore. Fighting my way through a few more Gunners, I'm finally able to make it to the Courser. Dealing with the Courser takes quite a bit because 1, I don't do a lot of damage, 2, he heals himself like a bastard, and 3, I tried doing sneak attacks, like critical sneak attack, but it never actually worked. It took me till my 4th attempt because 1, he didn't use Stimpaks, and 2, he didn't use the Stealth Boy. He kind of just kept shooting at me and then smacking me in the face, which I'm gonna take because I killed him. Doing my civic duty, I take out the runaway synth. Now that I have a Courser chip, I could finally go to the Good North Church. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Go downstairs, guess the easiest password ever. I mean, come on, railroad. And well, you know what happens next, so let's cut to the chase. Alright, now we get to decode the chip. Damn, they're all dead now. Who cares? Going back to Virgil, he gives me the schematics for the teleporter, which luckily I have the Minutemen set up, so I can just go straight to Preston. Unfortunately, I didn't really have all the parts to build the entire setup, so now I gotta go to a military checkpoint, take out some gunners, and then go pick up the attachment I need. Like always, gunners are a pain in the butt, purely because 2 of them are skulls, so I'm not really high enough level, per se. I can still take them out, but it's gonna be a pain. Oh hey, that's the piece I need. Making it back, Sturgis finally gets the teleporter up and running, and I'm in an institute. Alright, let's go kill father. And by kill father, I mean kill father. He doesn't even get a word in. The first thing that happens to him is a bullet to the face. Well, not a bullet, but like a random piece of junk to the face. The reason I did this is because I don't want to go through the Institute's storyline, because the junk jet is a horrible weapon and it does horrible damage, so I'd rather just get this over with. The first thing I do is talk to Preston about how the Institute is now our enemies, and he sends me to go do more settlements. You wanna know why? Because it takes a total of 8 settlements to be able to do the Minutemen ending. I don't know, I didn't count because I just wanted to end it.
2,000 years later.
Alright, that was a lot of stuff I gotta do. Anyways, let's do the castle now, the castle raid, whatever it's called. Through the video, I forgot to show it, but every companion I was offered throughout the quest line, or throughout the main quest line, or side quest line, whatever. Every easy, like, companion to grab, I decided to just send them over to the castle just so they can help me out. Piper's here with the Flamer, Preston's there, Dogmeat, Nick Valentine, I think he's in power armor. There's a specific reason I sent them to the castle, so they can defend, obviously. Anytime I got one, I would just send them here, like I said before. But they did a majority of the heavy lifting, and I'm counting this because technically I'm not killing them, and it's not really cheating just to get all the settlements, well, all the settlers in the one area. The fighting was so intense that even my own settlers decided to fight me. I have no clue to this day why they shot at me. Three of them shot at me, not none of the companions, just the three regular settlers. Talking once again to Preston, he sends me to Sturgis again so I can go back into the Institute. The Minutemen method of going into the Institute has always been my favorite. At least second favorite compared to the Brotherhood that just blows up everything and then goes in there. The Minutemen ending is just going through the sewers, fighting my way through synths, and then I'm in there. I think that's funny. I think that's just hilarious, and it's so perfect for the Minutemen because they don't have the firepower to blow their way in, and they don't really have the inside men to go like the railroad would do it. So going through the sewers is the most realistic, I'm gonna say, way of going in there for the Minutemen. Shove it in the holotape, I'm able to get the Minutemen teleport into here to help me out. See my homeboy Preston. At first I try to get the Minutemen to fight the synths for me, but I get bored pretty fast and decide to just go in guns blazing. Using the Minutemen as fodder is probably something I should have done, but at the same time, they be my homeboys, they be my dogs, they be my little kids, my little children. I can't let Minutemen get hurt. How am I as a general supposed to be a good general if I let my Minutemen get hurt when I could just be there fighting, huh? No, I wouldn't do that. I have to fight. Making it up to Sean's room, I activate the self-destruct and the evacuation password, just so I can go down to the basement. Reaching the reactor room, I instantly died to a plasma grenade. I mean, it just evaporated me, god damn. Next time around, I'm able to take out all the enemies and place the bomb on the reactor core, get teleported out, and decide to bring Sean with me this time. Or Robo Sean, Synth Sean, whatever he is. Speak to Sturgis so he teleports me out, proving yes, you can beat Fallout 4 with just the junk jet. The junk jet is a slog of a weapon. It could have been better, it could have been does better. I think if it shot a little bit faster than what it does right now, it would have been a better weapon. And the charging mechanic is good, but sometimes I found that it just didn't charge at all. But enough complaining. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. I hope you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys the next time. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier in the video. Here's a tier list of all the weapons I've done so far. I'm going to continue to do them, so I'll keep adding to the tier list. But this is something I purely want to do on the side, so yeah.